The American Space Shuttle program may be history, but a craft looking somewhat familiar to the reusable plane is already circling above the globe, blasting off Wednesday morning not long after a 4-year mission where no one talked about what it was doing, few admit to it even being something real, and plenty of others doing everything they can to figure out what exactly is inside the unmanned X-37B spacecraft. Let us break out the conspiracy theories then, and seeing as Fox Mulder is not available, we turn to leading defense expert and editor at the website Breaking Defense, Colin Clark. Good to see you again, Colin.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I know anything.
I was going to say that perhaps you can neither confirm nor deny that you are actually here at this moment, but that's okay. We certainly understand in reference to the X-37B. So then tell us, what is in it? What exactly is in this? Because I know you have every last little stitch of gearing, knowing full well what's in that payload.
Okay, I don't. But we've got a pretty good idea of the types of things they want to do with a craft like the X-37B. And the last time the Air Force talked about it in any detail is about 6 years ago. So we're a little out of date, but they want to take sensors up, very, very sensitive infrared and similar sensors, and test them. They almost certainly are using some of these for very, very high resolution surveillance of central China.
See, wait a minute there. Let me stop you there. You use that magic S word, surveillance. So is it not, as many people have surmised, that a lot of what is already on the X-37B is made to do just that? A greater surveillance, better cameras perhaps, better sensors in what's actually going on the ground?
It makes sense, but we don't know for sure. What we do know for sure is that the ability to move the X-37B, which very few satellites can do to any large degree, is an enormous benefit if you're trying to do surveillance. First off, it makes it much, much harder for the Chinese or the Russians, who are tracking the skies as well as they can, which thank goodness is not nearly as well as we can. When a rocket lifts off and heads to orbit, especially geosynchronous orbit, way, way up there, you know exactly where it is pretty much all of the time. A satellite in LEO orbit, lower, wobbles a bit more, you can move it a bit here and there, but for the most part, if you have a really good telescope, you can watch it. The X-37B can be watched, but it's a lot harder because you're never sure where it's going to be.
If we are then to just surmise what's in it, and again, it's all part of guessing here, we're talking about intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, space science. Is there a thinking that this is all military? Perhaps maybe it has something to do with manned space flight, perhaps getting that back off the ground. But at the end of the day, no matter how we look at it, this is probably all military equipment that's being tested.
And given how little the Air Force and the intelligence community have said in detail about the X-37B, I think we can be almost certain that 99% of what's going on in that aircraft, if we want to call it that, is classified. And even if it's not, it makes it much, much more difficult for the Chinese and the Russians and anyone else to plan against it. I mean, one of the things that the Soviets were brilliant at, and the Chinese have become, some say, even better at, is camouflage and deception.
So let's then surmise again, if you will. I got about 60 seconds left, Colin. Let's go ahead and take a flight of fancy here. What are the conspiracy theorists saying? As I noted, Fox Mulder is not here. We do not have Dana Scully. We cannot turn to them immediately. So if we were to guess, what are you hearing throughout the various webs of what exact skullduggery may be going on?
There's apparently some materiel research, which I would guess in low gravity is probably to do with nanotechnology. I don't know anything more than that. That's a tidbit. I'm almost certain that they have a very good telescope of small size, probably infrared, on it. Watching, one of the most important things we do nowadays is keep track of what is in space so that we know where the Chinese and the Russians and the Israelis and the other satellites are. And
But
the best way
it
to do
is
that,
not there, though, to capture extraterrestrial life, though, correct? We want to be sure of that.
I don't think it has. I don't think it has anything to do with little green men, except those in Ukraine.
We just want to make sure. And just to point out very quickly, as far as you know, it is not doing any sort of research to find out if Hillary Clinton has another email, correct? It is not doing anything to do with that, at least as far as we know.
I can tell you that I have inside information that she almost certainly does.
Okay, see, now there we go. We have to break a little bit here, and it didn't take the X-37B to find out. Colin Clark, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. We will continue to watch for the little green men, if you will. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
All right, my pleasure. Stay with us because the fastest 60 minutes in news, high above the earth, continues.